Hello everyone and welcome to my channel if you are new. If you're not new, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marina and I'm gonna make this intro really quick because I do need to get to work soon. So sorry to start off the vlog this way. This is gonna be another reading vlog. I know, crazy. I feel like doing a little bit of a twist on it though, where we can see how much I read in a week. It's not really a challenge type of video, it's just to see how much I can read in a week. I am gonna try to count the pages that I read throughout the week and let you guys know day by day how much I read. And then of course I'll be talking about the books I'm reading in between. Currently reading The Vampire Lestat. Currently as in I'm about to start it today. I'm not actually in the middle of it, but I'm gonna start that today because it's T-minus 1 week until the new season starts. I'm really pushing it to the limit right now. Remember when I said I wanted to read that book at the beginning of the year? Yeah, no, I literally waited until the very last minute, but I'm gonna start it this week and then hopefully finish it before the end of the week. And then I'm also reading on my Kindle A Girl Like Her by Talia Hibbert. Now, you guys know Talia Hibbert is not a stranger on this channel for me. I read the Brown Sisters trilogy years ago, and I also read Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. So I'm very well acquainted with her and her books, but I have not read any of them since. And the last book I read by her was back in 2023. So I'm kind of diving my toes, dipping my toes. I'm getting back into her stuff. So yeah, I read a few chapters of that last night and this morning, but I'm gonna officially start the challenge now. So from now until the end of the day, whatever amount of pages I read in that time, I'm going to count that towards my page count of what I read today. I hope that this makes sense. I don't know, I really need to leave. Today is Memorial Day, fun fact. So I'm technically working a holiday and I kind of like working a holiday. We get to go into work an hour later and I totally forgot that that was a thing. So I literally left my house 40 minutes ago and then on the way to work, I got gas, I got coffee, all the things. And then when I was 5 minutes away from my job, I realized I don't need to be here for another hour. So I literally have been back home just so I can lay in bed for an extra 30 minutes before I head out. Now that you guys are all caught up on what my chaotic morning has been I do need to go. That's the plan. The Vampire Lestat will be getting started today, hopefully. I am able to read at my job. It all just depends on who wants to talk to me because I love my coworkers dearly. I like talking to them, but whenever they want to have conversations with me, I get little to no reading done. I hope that you guys are having a good day. I'll talk to you guys later, probably when I get off of work, and I'll update you on how much I've read. Hi guys, it is the next day. I meant to update you guys after work yesterday and I didn't, and I'm sorry if you could hear a fan. It's hot in here. But I'm about to go to work again today. This is a really rough start to the video. I'm very sorry, but I do have a page count of how much I read yesterday. Let me go grab the book. All right, so for The Vampire Lestat, I read 40 pages, which is a lot less than what I wanted to read. You guys know that when I start a new book, I prefer to read the first 100 pages in the first sitting just to get a feel of what the book is and if I'm going to like it. I can confidently say I think I'm going to love this book more than the first book, Interview with the Vampire. You guys know my history with that book if you've been here for a while. I was not the biggest fan of Interview with the Vampire or Anne Rice's writing style for that book. Going into the sequel, my expectations have lowered a bit because of the rough start I had with that first book, but this is a completely different tone, completely different vibe from the first one because we are following a new character. Well, not new, but a different character. We're following Lestat in The Vampire Lestat, shocker, and he is for some reason a rock star, platinum celebrity rock star in the 1980s. You kind of start off the book with him explaining why he chose to come back from underground, because he was underground for decades, and then he decided to come back in the 80s, and we're kind of just discovering a lot more about Lestat than what was revealed in the previous book. And if you watch the show, then you know that the third season is going to be centered around the Vampire Lestat book, hence why I am reading it. And I'm very excited because yeah, even in the show we know little to nothing about Lestat lot other than from what Louis has told us, and that's stuff that Lestat has told him himself. So we've barely scratched the surface with this character, and he is one of my favorite characters in the show, so I'm really looking forward to this book. I think that so far Lestat is just like, overall, I think a very interesting, fun character to follow because he doesn't really take life too seriously. But you already know characters that tend to not take life too seriously, there's like a past attached to that of why you don't take anything seriously. So I can't wait to get into the nitty-gritty of this. But yeah, I've only gotten like 40 pages in, but I'm gonna try to read more of this today. I wanted to read some of it this morning, but I actually got no reading done this morning. I had to do a lot this morning, so I got no reading done. Everything that I am telling you right now is stuff that I found out yesterday when I read. I haven't read anything so far today. For A Girl Like Her on my Kindle, I read 42 pages of this. I think I'm on chapter 12. When I last talked to you guys, I already started this book as opposed to like The Vampire Lestat, which I did start that day. I started this book like 2 days ago. This is a book following a girl, a girl named Ruth, and she's kind of the town outcast. No one really likes her, and there's obviously history there. It's a very small town, gossip gets around, and she's kind of been known for years to be the one that's ostracized from the community until a new guy comes in. What's his name? Evan. Evan comes into this town, this small town, and he's like a ray of sunshine. Everyone loves him, adore him already. I'm not gonna lie, he's really, really sweet. But he notices that everyone else is weird towards Ruth, especially because he moved into the apartment that's next to hers, so very close quarters. He sees how other people treat her and he's like, that's not cool, I'm going to be nicer because she's not that bad of a person and I don't really understand why people are this way. He's like, no, fuck that, we're going to be friends, I'm gonna befriend you, I hope that you are okay with that. And what comes with being ostracized from the community is Ruth is very standoffish. She's not the easiest person to befriend because she just pushes people away due to whatever happened in her past. I still haven't gotten to that part of the book yet, but I have a feeling I know what it's gonna be. She's also on the spectrum, so there is autism rep in this, and yeah, that's all I gotta say. This book really reminds me of Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan, if any of you guys have read that book. It gives small town, grumpy sunshine, kind of the same premise. Some character, the main character, being pushed out by the community for stuff that's like the town secret. This new person comes into town with open arms, welcoming them to be their friend, and then it slowly becomes something else. Like, it's kind of like bar for bar, word for word, reminding me of Archer's Voice, but with the Talia Hibbert twist on it, of it just being like black. And I really like that. I think this is a whole entire series, the Ravenswood series, and I don't know who the other books follow, but I will say I'm really enjoying this. I do think it's a little bit insta-lovey, not insta-love, more like insta-lust, because I'm only like, what, 30% into it, and there's already been like moves made between the two main characters. So, you know, I'm not getting the slow burn that I usually crave in a romance book, but it's fine. It's not like they've warmed up to each other and are dating each other already, but there are vibes there that have already been kind of addressed and confessed, but they're taking their time with the relationship, so I can appreciate it for what it is. In total, I read 82 pages yesterday, so we'll see how far I can get into these books today. Like I said, do have to leave for work, so I don't expect to get that much into these books, but I'm going to try. And then I'll also try to read after work, because I didn't read anything after work yesterday. I tried, I couldn't get into it. So yeah, we'll see how far I get. I'll let you guys know. I promise I'll let you guys know after I get home from work today. I know I promised that yesterday, but I do promise today you will be hearing from me. This is not the last update of the day. Talk to you guys later. Wow, look, an actual update when I'm back at home. That's crazy. I have not read any of The Vampire Lestat today because I don't know, it's harder for me to read physically at work, like with the actual book. If I'm like in tune with my job, I'm obviously like not gonna whip out a book and just like start flipping. But I did pull out my Kindle, so don't ask me how that makes sense. It doesn't, but I did get some reading done on my Kindle. I don't know how many pages I've read of A Girl Like Her. I've read 40 pages so far and counting, because I will be reading some more later tonight. I am still liking the book for what it's worth. This is a very fast-paced book in my opinion. I'm like 45% into it. If I wanted to, I could probably finish this tonight, but I do have to work tomorrow morning, so I'm not gonna pull an all-nighter trying to finish this. I've missed the way that Talia Hibbert writes banter. This was, I think, one of her first books though, so you can tell that there's been like some growth with her writing from like this book to the Brown Sisters trilogy. It makes sense that obviously there will be growth from her as a writer, but you can still tell like this is still her style of writing romance that I just really have missed over the past few years, and I'm really liking it. Also, I completely forget every single time I pick up one of her books that they're all British. Like they all take place in the UK. So like all of a sudden I'll be hit with like some crazy ass like British slang, and I'd be like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's because they're from across the pond. Finally getting deeper into like the MMC's past and why he is the way he is, because like I said, this is a grumpy sunshine duo, and the girl is the grump and the guy is the sunshine, and I love that sort of dynamic. I really appreciate it when like we get into like the sunshine character's background and backstory and why they feel like they need to present a certain way. Not saying that like people can't naturally be positive and happy all the time, but like sometimes it's to like compensate for something else. And especially in books, you see that a lot with like the men that tend to be grumpy, but I like it when it's saved for like sunshine characters as well. That's currently where I left off, or like in the middle of getting his backstory. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the book. There is nothing left to say. I don't think I'll give it like high of a rating though, if I'm being honest. I think it'll probably range from like 3 to 3.5 stars for me, simply because like I said, I'm not a fan of insta love. And here's the thing, right? This isn't like technically that insta lovey, because this book has so far taken place over like the course of almost a month, I think. So it's natural for someone to like meet someone and instantly feel like there's a connection. And then especially if you're in this case next door neighbors and you guys talk and you see each other often, you can develop a crush for something. That's like completely normal. But in my books, I just don't like to read it. I like the buildup, especially again with the grumpy sunshine dynamic. I like seeing the grump of the relationship slowly warm up to the other person, and I feel like with this book, with the main character Ruth being the grump and also being on the spectrum, because I think that plays a fair part of it, she can't really read social cues all that well, and she's like being very honest with him about that. Like she can't tell when he's flirting, and sometimes he has to outright say it. But I feel like when it comes to her developing feelings for him, it kind of just came all at once. Like there was no real slow burn on her end. Was hoping that there would be, because she's very standoffish. Again, she's like the pariah of the town. No one really associates with her, so she's not all that welcoming when it comes to people trying to get to know her, because she feels like they already have like these preconceived notions of her. But with him, it all came very naturally. Granted, he is literally a ray of sunshine. He's like so sweet. So but I don't know, I was hoping on her end, like when I read in her POV, that I would be able to slowly see the feelings develop. And so far it kind of like, it, not gonna lie, it happened like literally within the first like 3 chapters, and I was like, oh, all right. But like I said, I'm not gonna give it like a bad rating just because of that, because I still am enjoying the story. I still am really obsessed with the way Talia Hibbert writes banter in her books. British humor in general is just really up my alley. I don't know, the dryness of it is just really amusing to me. So I always have a good time reading one of her books like that. I'm going to continue reading for the rest of the night, and I will let you guys know tomorrow how many pages I read today. Hi guys, it's the next day and it is kind of late. It's like 8 o'clock at night. So I'm gonna make this update quick. I feel like every update I've given in this video has been very quick. But to be honest, like I haven't been able to read much today and it makes me so sad. But before I get to today, let me tell you how much I read yesterday. I read 40 pages yesterday. I got further into the book. I'm like, I think almost 60% into it. So not gonna lie, it says I only have like an hour and a half-ish left of reading it. I think I'm gonna finish that book tonight because it's getting really good. I read some pages at work for A Girl Like Her specifically. I don't know if I told you guys which book, but it's for A Girl Like Her, okay? And I read a little bit of that today. And guys, it's getting revealed of why Ruth is like the town outcast. I'm about to pull out my Kindle and actually get to reading because I'm wide awake and I'm ready to go. As for the Vampire Lestat, I read some of it this morning. I'm on chapter 5. I've come to the conclusion that for that book, I really need to like have the time and energy to read it, because when I have the time, I don't have the energy, and vice versa, you know? So tomorrow I have the day off of work, and so I'm going to try to get further into that one. I've also come to another conclusion that I feel like I should really take my time with that book, because the way Anne Rice writes her books, they're very dense, but also a little bit like chaotic in a way where I feel like I need to really pay attention, or else I'm gonna like miss some stuff, especially when it comes to the character Lestat, because his whole backstory is just trauma. And so I feel like I need to lock in tomorrow to read that. So that's what I'm gonna do. I do have plans tomorrow morning. I need to get my hair done, so I will be out of the house for a good chunk of the morning to get my hair done. But after that, once I'm home, I have nothing else. So I'm going to read some more. I don't know how much of A Girl Like Her I've read mixed in with Vampire Lestat. Let me actually check. Okay, I stopped at page 133 last night for A Girl Like Her, and I'm currently on page 172. So again, this like 40-page mark that I keep hitting, it's all coincidental, I swear. I'm not doing this on purpose, but I think it's interesting to see like the average of what I read on a weekly basis. So this is kind of fun for me. But then I also have the few pages I've read of the Vampire Lestat. If I'm being honest, I don't feel like getting the book out because it's like heavy and chunky, and I don't feel like getting it out of my bag. But I think I read like no more than maybe 10 pages of that. So we're already over the 40-page mark. I've read 50 pages today. Let's see how much more of A Girl Like Her I can read. Like I said, I'm gonna try to get through that book today because it's getting good. It's getting good, and I want to see how it ends. The next update will be tomorrow, and I swear tomorrow we will actually have sit downs and reading footage and actual like time to make conversation. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hello everyone, it is the next day, if you could not tell. It is very late in the day, and like I said this yesterday, it's not that late, it's like 5 o'clock, but it's been like an entire day. But I have been getting reading done, okay? As you can see, I just finished up A Girl Like Her, and I read a good chunk of it this morning, because last night I did read, but I didn't get far enough into it without dozing off. So I finished the book today, and I feel like I'm right in the fact that I'm gonna rate that around like 3 to 3.5 stars. It was cute, it was fun, good time. I love a good small town romance, I do, but it wasn't anything extraordinary. Oh, I didn't even tell you guys how many pages I read yesterday. Let's check. I read 56 pages of A Girl Like Her, and then let me get out my physical copy of the Vampire Lestat, because I have not picked this up since yesterday, and I did not read much, so I'm gonna tell you that right now. 6 pages. So in total, that's 62 pages. Today, I feel like I'm gonna surpass that because I have the rest of the day to do stuff. I love days off. I do. This series is a good palette cleanser. I feel like I'll go back to this. I think it's called Ravenswood series whenever I need like a cute, fun little romance. Because like I said, I'm a big fan of Grumpy Sunshine, especially when it's the girl that's grumpy and the guy that's sunshine. So that's really cute. That's fun. I think like all of the books in the series have that kind of dynamic, because the next book is about the FMC sister and the guy's best friend's brother who's a single parent. And something tells me that they're both giving grump, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited, but I'll tune into that one next time we do something like this, maybe in the next reading vlog. Right now though, I'm serious about actually continuing this. Whenever I pull this beast out, it looks so intimidating, but I have to remind myself, Marina, this is just 3 books in one. This is just 3 books in one, okay? The Vampire Lestat is not this big, trust. On chapter 5 still. Like I said, I haven't read more than what I read yesterday in this book. and I have no real updates. If I'm being honest, the reason why I want to finish this so fast is yes, because of the TV show, but also because with every trailer and teaser that drops, I've been skipping it so that I'm not like getting spoiled accidentally. Spoiled is like such a loose term here for a book that was written in like the 80s. Like, it's not really a spoiler, but it's a spoiler to me because I want to go into the show surprised. I mean, I've gotten a few spoilers here and there, but like none major in my opinion. So I'm gonna try to read this book fast, but also try to appreciate it. One thing I feel like I need to say though is me and Anne Rice, we're not like this. Like, I feel like her writing style really isn't my speed. And again, I think I said this book, the tone is very different from the first book, Interview with the Vampire. That's basically like completely different tone shift from that book, which I appreciate, but I feel like her writing style is just not for me. And I don't know if this is a hot take, but it kind of, I don't know if I should say this because Anne Rice fans are so brutal, but it kind of gives like fan fiction, and not in like a bad way or a good way. It kind of just gives like, I don't think that she wrote this. If I didn't know Anne Rice wrote this, I would say, oh, this is giving definitely like vampire fan fiction, and that's all I can say about it. Like, the writing isn't all that good, but then like every once in a while you'll get hit with the most poetic line that even Shakespeare couldn't think of, and it'd be like on page 76 random. So you know, it makes it worth reading those books just to catch those lines in between, but like the writing itself is like not all that great. But like I said, I am having a better time with this book than the first book, which is all I could have asked for, because you guys know, if you remember my experience with the first book, I absolutely hated it and I have nightmares about it till this day. I'm gonna continue reading this beast. I actually don't even know how many pages this book is. It kind of all just blends together when you're reading a book that's like this thick with 3 books in one. But I'm gonna try to get it to at least page 100 today, because I've been reading this book for days and I haven't even reached page 100, which is not like me at all. I'm currently on page 45. I will check back in with you guys when I get to page 100. Don't know if I will start another book, if I'm being honest, now that I finished A Girl Like Her, because I don't really have other books on my radar as of yet. Like, I just happen to be in the middle of reading both of these books at the same time. So yeah, if I end up starting something later in the night, I will let you guys know. Yeah, this is all I got. So I will talk to you guys later. I'm currently listening to the Interview with the Vampire soundtrack while I read this book. Couldn't recommend a better reading experience. First of all, if you haven't listened to the show's soundtrack and you're a fan of the show, what are you doing? Like, listen to it without the show, like just in your free time, and you'll feel like you're in like a different world. I'm listening to the soundtrack while I'm reading this book and I'm having a grand old time while doing so. But I wanted to take a break because I'm now at chapter 7, so I haven't gotten that much further into the book, but I want to say something. One of the reasons why I love Lestat as a character is because I genuinely don't know anything about him. Like, yes, we get to know him a little bit in the first few seasons of the show and in the first book, and it's all from Louis's perspective. And it's not that I don't trust Louis, I just feel like his recounting of events from what we've seen, as we all know if we've watched the show, and if you haven't, I'm so sorry for the spoilers ahead, but you should watch the show. As we've seen, not everything Louis has recounted of Lestat and how he is true. That's for many reasons, having to deal with like his own repressed trauma, having holes in his memory. That's not his fault, it's just what it is. And so when we get to learn more about Lestat as a character in his own book, I'm getting really excited for the show, because I really just want to understand how Lestat became who he is. Like I said, we get gapes of Lestat in the first book, in the first few seasons, so I'm already aware of like his feelings towards God and religion as a whole. You get glimpses of it, but to actually hear how much he really did have a relationship with the church and his religion and dedicating himself to a faith, not because he really truly believed in it, but because he just wanted his life to mean something. Right now, the first part of this book is just about like how when he grew up, as he got older from childhood to adulthood, he just wanted to have a purpose in his life. And that gets to him so much that like when he starts to think of death and the end of it all, he's like contemplating what even is the point of life if I'm like going about it meaninglessly, and it kind of takes over his whole thought process. He's recounting the story of like what his life was before he became a vampire. So like his human life was just him trying to find a purpose, trying to find a passion, anything to keep him going. Because if he stopped for 1 second, he would start getting a little bit sad and depressed. And I think that that's so, I just like being in this character's mind. You guys know he's one of my favorite characters, but again, I'm working with like the surface of what Lestat is while watching the show and reading the books. So being able to read this right now with him as the main character, it's great. And again, like this book, these books, this show loves to play with perspective. So I'm not going into the story thinking every recounting of events from Lestat's perspective is the truth, okay? Like I'm not gonna sit here and act like he's like the truth sayer of this series, because every character I think has their own book in the Vampire Chronicles to some extent, and they all recount events their own way. It's all about perspective and who you choose to believe. I don't think that Lestat in any way, shape, or form is lying about his childhood though. Like from how this book is written, in Lestat's voice, he's being very vulnerable, especially about like his family, his siblings, his mother. Yeah, his mom, I told you guys I knew a little bit about this book specifically. Spoiler I got is just like about his relationship with his mom. I don't want to spoil too much in case you guys really do want to read this book, but Lestat's mom is not a good person, and that's all I knew going into it. It was between that and Lestat having to do with wolves of some kind. Everyone was like, oh, the wolf scene, can't wait to see the wolf scene in season 3, and I was like, what does that mean? I think I know what they mean now. So I like being caught up a little bit, but right now I've barely gotten any glimpses of Lestat's mom, but just seeing like his home life in general and the environment he grew up in, of like his family just settling and being okay with doing nothing for the rest of their lives and just succumbing to like this poor town and this poor village and hunting for the rest of their lives. Lestat was meant for bigger, better things, and he knew it, and now they're going off to Paris, which is so great for them. Like that's where chapter 6 left off. I know what goes down in Paris because I watched the show, so I don't really want to, but again, the show's version of things, it's all from Louis's perspective, and Louis does not know Lestat's relationship with the people he meets in Paris. So I'm so excited, guys. I'm so excited to get into this man's head and see what actually went down. I'm so excited. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying this, being able to get more into a character that I've been like loving for the past few years. Very exciting stuff. I don't know why I put off reading this book for so long. I knew I wanted to read it, but for some reason I didn't actually pick up the book. That's annoying. Hello everyone, good morning. I am about to head out for work soon, but I wanted to update you before I do. I know, an actual morning update and not like an after work late at night update. This is crazy. I put down the amount of pages I read from A Girl Like Her yesterday. I read 85 pages of that. And then for the Vampire Lestat, I did not get to page 100, but that's only because I stopped at a part of the book that I feel like is gonna really emotionally mess me up. So I was like, I'm gonna save that for another time today. I wasn't awake enough to deal with it. I was reading until like really late at night, but I don't think I got that far into it because I was kind of off and on, off and on. I got 20 pages in. So I read 105 pages yesterday. That's a lot better. You see what happens when I actually have the time to read? I'm gonna be as transparent as I can with you. I might not get that much reading done just for the simple fact that I forgot that I have to edit a video for tomorrow. I did not do any editing yesterday. I usually try to do it on Thursdays on my days off. Did not do that this time. So we're gonna see how this works, if I get any reading done after work today, but I am gonna try to get some done at work. Don't know how successful that will be. we're just gonna have to see. I didn't know if I was gonna pick up another book on my Kindle after A Girl Like Her, but I remembered that I have some arcs available on NetGalley that I still have not started yet. I got a new one a few weeks ago, and it's been a while since I've used NetGalley, so I'm trying to figure out how to connect it to my Kindle. But if I can do that before I head out today, then I will be reading Lavender and Hemlock by Lily Wilkinson. This book does not come out until November, so I have a lot of time to read it. But with arcs, I've been trying to do this thing where I read them when I actually get them and not wait last minute to read them. Between the arcs I get for just my job and now the ones I'm getting through NetGalley, I've been keeping up with the arcs that I get, so pat on the back for me. I don't remember what it's about. I requested this one like, I want to say 2 months ago, so I'm kind of going into it blind, but again, that's only if I can figure out how to hook it up to my Kindle, because every time I click on like the send to Kindle button, it doesn't send to my Kindle, so I don't really know how else to work around that. But I might just end up reading a little bit of The Vampire Lestat when I get to work. If I do end up reading something else, I'll try to let you guys know after work, but again, I am going to lock in to get this video edited and ready for tomorrow. I'll talk to you guys later. Hi guys, it is Saturday. Surprise, surprise. We're actually gonna do a full week in this vlog, because I know that for me, I usually, when I do like my weekly reading vlogs, I have it from Monday to Friday, but I really want to see how much I can read in a whole week, so I'm gonna be recording over the weekend as much as I can anyway. It's currently 12 o'clock. I've been editing all morning to the point where now I have a headache because I've just been staring at screens since I woke up. I'm officially done editing. Well, no, I still have to edit like one short or reel, whatever you want to call it, but I'm gonna take a break from it because my head is literally pounding, and that's how I know I need to like stop looking at a screen. So I'm going to tell you guys how much I read yesterday so I can continue reading today. I did not end up reading, what was the book that I told you guys I got? The one off of NetGalley. I started like a couple pages of it, but I did not get far enough to actually tell you guys anything. Lavender and Hemlock. Yeah, I got like 5% into it according to NetGalley, so there's no real progress with that. But with The Vampire Lestat, I read a decent amount of that yesterday at work. A decent amount meaning like more than I expected, okay? Also, do you like my hair? It's giving much like hippie long stocking. Yeah, so I stopped on Thursday night reading, as you guys know, because I felt like I got to a really big part in the book that I honestly wasn't expecting to start so early in the book. Magnus, and if you know, you know. Like, I know I keep on speaking in code when it comes to like The Vampire Lestat, Interview with the Vampire, but I'm really trying not to give away too much. But if you know, you know, like Magnus is a really big character. So as soon as I got to part 2, I honestly thought, well, 1, it's a good place to stop, but also 2, I just feel like I wasn't prepared for that experience on Thursday night. So I stopped, and now I'm on chapter 8 of part 2, and I'm 98 pages into. I feel like I didn't read 98 pages yesterday. I'm like, sorry, I'm trying to figure out if this is real. Yeah, I'm 98 pages into part 2 of the book, so I read 98 pages yesterday. Mixed in with, I guess I will count the 3 pages I read from Lavender and Hemlock. I actually don't know if it was 13 pages. 98 plus 13, 111. Yeah, I didn't really give you guys any updates because, like I said, I did want to lock in on editing yesterday, so I edited a lot yesterday after work and this morning, so I have done little to no reading in about 24 hours, and I think my head is starting to feel it, and so I need to get off of a screen and pick up a book. I totally forgot that I made plans with one of my best friends, DJ. You guys know DJ if you've been here, okay? We have not seen each other in like a month, maybe longer. So I'm planning on spending some time with her. She's coming over later. We're not gonna do anything crazy. None of us feel like spending money in this economy. So she's just coming over to hang out. So I doubt I'm gonna get much reading done, but I'm gonna read a little bit before she gets here, as much as I can anyway. And that's how the day's gonna get spent. I have the day off today, so if I can spend it reading, I will try, and I'll let you guys know how I'm feeling. I'm not gonna lie, I just really want to continue reading the Vampire Lestat because I left off on a really important chapter. I'm on chapter 8 right now, and I don't know how many chapters are going to be in each part of the book. Part 1 had, I think, 10 chapters, so maybe it'll be split like 10 chapters per part, but right now I'm on chapter 8 and things are getting crazy, so I kind of want to finish the Magnus part of the book and then I'll take a break. That's it. That's the update. I will let you guys know how I'm feeling about the book later on today if I remember to do that. But yeah, talk to you guys later. Hi guys. Welcome to Sunday, the last day of this vlog. Crazy that it's been a full week of me recording. Like, wow. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I did not read a single thing yesterday, okay? I tried to read before I hung out with DJ, but I did not read that much of anything. I read like maybe a paragraph of a page. And then she came over, and then, ironically enough, we started watching Interview with the Vampire because I've been trying to put her on for years, and since the new season is coming out, and I told her that I was reading the book, she was like, well, why don't you put it on since I'm finally over and we can watch it? So we watched the entirety of season 1, and that took like the rest of the day. And after that, I did not read anything because it was like damn near like middle of the night, 1 a.m. So yeah, all that to say, it is the next day. We're starting anew, okay? I'm going to be straightforward with you. I'm supposed to be at work right now, but I've had a stomach ache all day, so I called off. I was like, I'm not coming to work like this. I felt nauseous and my stomach was hurting really bad, and if I'm being honest, it still kind of is, but I'm gonna persevere, okay? I'm reading a little bit of the Vampire Lestat right now, and also low-key peep the merch. I've worn this shirt many times before, but I don't know if you guys know, this is the Vampire Lestat merch. Or I guess Interview with the Vampire. I don't know. The way that they're changing the name of the show to fit the season is kind of annoying me. I'm gonna keep calling it Interview with the Vampire because that's the psych ward I was raised in, okay? So keep the merch while I literally read the book. I've read 10 pages so far today. Like I said, it's been very hard for me to focus on anything when I feel like this, but I'm gonna try to read more throughout the rest of the day. It is like 4 o'clock, so still pretty early, still can get some reading in, but yeah, yesterday I read 0, but I'm hoping to make some progress today since it is the last day of the vlog, and then by the end of the night I will update you guys on how I'm feeling and how many pages I've read. Right now I'm still on like the Magnus part of the book since I didn't get any further into it. I'm on chapter 11, so there are like a different amount of chapters per part because like I said, I think part 1 had 10 chapters, and now I'm on page 111, chapter 11 of The Legacy of Magnus. So it's interesting seeing Lestat kind of adapt to this new lifestyle of being a vampire because you can kind of tell he was made for this life. Which I don't know if it's like a good thing or a bad thing, but like you can tell that like after he got over, you know, the trauma of being turned into a vampire against his will, he's kind of been living his best life. Is exactly how I would expect him to be, again, since I've seen the show, but to actually hear like his thought process when it comes to having to kill people in order to survive, and again coming to terms with like his religious beliefs and how they kind of get turned on its head because of what he is. I don't know, I'm really enjoying it so far. I will say, like, I'm sure this is gonna get really sad very quickly. Like, I'm sure it's not gonna be all happy rainbows and sunshine like it is right now, but I'm enjoying it for what it is. But yeah, I wish I had more to update you guys on. That's literally it. I will be reading for the rest of the day if I can help it. I did order some food because I need to eat something today. My stomach feels like it could handle something. I didn't order like anything heavy, just a salad, so we'll see how this goes. I want to read. I swear I want to read, but not if my body is like literally rejecting it. So yeah, I'll update you guys later. Sorry, I had to stop real quick because I feel like I'm almost to the end of part 2 because it feels like this stage of Lestat's life is kind of like wrapping up. I don't know. I haven't actually checked, but I just wanted to say that there is a line in this chapter that really just like had me gasping. See, it's like times like this where Anne Rice really does get me, because I will be reading through a whole lot of fluff and tomfoolery, and then she'll hit me with like a gut-wrenching line. Lestat is like rediscovering his love for humans, not necessarily humanity, but like for humans through like his lens of now being a vampire, and he's like describing how he sees them now. And he said, beautiful, that's what any human being is to us. If we stop to consider it, even the old and the deceased, the downtrodden that one doesn't really see in the street, they are all like that, like flowers ever in the process of opening, butterflies ever unfolding out of the cocoon. What a beautiful way to describe like people, humans, all humans. Like, granted, he's also like describing his one true love this way. Like, I'm at a part where he's like talking about his first love, but still, that's such a beautiful way to say like humans are all beautiful in their own ways, and they're all like blooming flowers. Are you kidding me? Anyway, just wanted to say that gut-wrenching line. I don't know why that like did something to me. Ooh. Alright, I think it is time we stop the vlog for today. Let's count how many pages I've read today, and then we can count how much I've read in total. Because I'm not gonna lie guys, I realized that one of the days I counted the amount of pages very wrong. So we need to go back and look at the numbers because I really messed up. But let's see how many pages I have read. I started at page 98 earlier, and I'm on page 153 right now. So I know that's like around 50-ish pages, but I don't know how much exactly. So let's do the math. I read 55 pages today, and I highly doubt I'm gonna read any more because I'm tired. I'm running on fumes right now, so I'm gonna just call it a night, and that's that. Yeah, I'm starting to understand why so many people hate Lestat's mother. Same Z's, I totally get it. Like, no need to explain anything else, but it's getting a little bit crazy right now in the book, I'm not gonna lie. I've been taking notes on how many pages I've been reading since the beginning of the video. Okay, so I have it all tracked, but I need to tell you guys, I think I messed up my count. No, I know I did. I for sure messed up the amount of pages I read on Friday, I think. Remember when I said I read, what was it, 98 pages of The Vampire Lestat? That's not true. That's not true. I definitely did my math wrong. You see, I thought that, and this is gonna sound stupid, you know how the book is split into parts, right? I thought with each new part of the book, it started back from page like 0. I don't know why I thought it did that, but because of that, I thought that I read 98 pages of part 2, when in reality it was actually, I was on page 98 of the entirety of the book. Okay, so with that being said, I ended up actually only reading 42 pages of The Vampire Lestat on Friday, not 98. So my total on Friday was actually 32 pages. So in total I ended up reading 45 pages, not the amount that I stated before. So let's just count the amount of pages I've read in total this week from Monday to Sunday. Let's add it all up. Okay, according to my calculations, hopefully they are right, I read in total 389 pages this week. So like, that's like an average sized book, you know? So I'm pretty proud of that. Not my best, not my worst. If I'm being honest, this was a very off and on reading week. Because I was kind of just trying to figure out what I was in the mood for, if I'm being honest. Mood reading, if you will. I'm okay with this as the total. That does not count like the audiobooks that I've been reading this week, because I didn't tell you guys that I've been reading a couple of audiobooks as well, but I didn't know how to like count that into it. So I was only counting the physical pages I was reading or pages on my Kindle. So this does not count the audiobooks. That being said, that's it. That's the video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, thank you so much. If you'd like to follow me on my social media, it'll all be linked down in the description below. Let me know how much you read in a week on average. How many books do you get through? How many pages do you read? Do you count your pages? No shame here, no judgment if you do. I personally don't. This is like one of the few times I've actually done this before. Too much math for me. So it's not my thing, but let me know if it is yours. I think that's it. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone.